Greetings, everybody. This is WandCow.
This is Jerusha.
And we're here with another one of these podcast things.
Yay.
So, nobody really sent us questions from last week. I did, however, find my original questions. And so I do have one additional awesome question to ask you and then have you ask me. What is your favorite alien species, Jerusha?
Ooh. Huh. Can we ask you first?
You could ask me first.
Because off the top of my head, I'm not really too sure. Favorite alien species that would require me to think of all the movies and books and media I've read with aliens.
So the sci-fi genre.
Gasp. Stalling now.
Okay.
I do like the book The Host by Stephanie Meyer. Much better than the Twilight series for sure. And there it had this traveling alien of kind of pretty much a Yeerk from Animorphs. Except it wasn't set on destroying the Earth. And in it, she just talks about all these other planets that this wandering alien has been to, and there was some pretty cool worlds. So, I'll go with that.
Awesome. I think I'm gonna go with Andalite from the Animorph book series. Okay. For those of you not in the know, an Andalite is a centaur who doesn't have a mouth, has an extra set of eyes on eye stalks so they can see in multiple directions. They eat through their hooves. I kind of want to say they have an extra finger on each hand, but I'm not 100 on that. They also have like a scythe blade as a tail, and it's just a really, really unique creature. Oh, and because they don't have a mouth, they have a natural telepathy, is how their species communicates with anyone.
And they're blue.
And they are also blue. Though I don't know if every single one of them is blue, but I believe a lot of them are in fact blue. And yeah, they're a really, really interesting species. So if you guys have any awesome questions for us, please leave them down in the comments below or send me an email at podcast@mad-matt.com. And yeah, include podcast in the title so I don't accidentally delete it. And we will answer it on a future podcast. But for today's podcast, I'm going to talk a little bit about modded Minecraft. Do you know anything about modded Minecraft, Arusha?
It's where you can play Minecraft with things happening, special things.
Yeah, it's Minecraft where they've added stuff in. And I play a decent amount of modded Minecraft. I've done a couple of different flavors of mod packs and stuff. And most recently, and the reason why I'm telling this story is that Tuesday night, I think it was, I logged on to this Attack of the B Team server that I'm on that has had it has a lot more of the calmer's the word I want to use. It doesn't have a lot of tech in it. Mm-hmm. It's got a lot of there were a lot of different types of magic in it, and it was a lot more laid back. There's a lot of resources everywhere, and you know, it just got a lot of stuff to do fun things and to build things and make things look pretty. But I logged in, and KP, the guy who runs the server, had sent me a message saying, "Hey, you're gonna need to update to this new pack that I put together." And so I went to it and checked it out, and he added a lot to this stuff. He likes the nuclear power type things, which I don't really want to get into because you know, I just kind of stay away from that. I don't like things that could blow up my base. It also has the implied energistics, I think it's called, which allows you to store all your items in a digital form, which I don't really like. I prefer having all my stuff, you know, in chests, and I use muscle memory to get it out. Of just, you know, I know where stuff ought to be kept. I'm pretty good about that type of stuff. He also added in, I believe, Buildcraft was in there, and Industrial Craft 3 or 2 or whatever it is. And those give you a bunch of machines and pipes to move items in and out of inventories and allow you to just dump a bunch of stuff in a chest, and it gets all put away, and your ores get, you know, broken down and smelted and everything, and does all that for you, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But he also brought in a mod called GregTech. Have you ever heard of GregTech?
I have not.
GregTech is one of the more controversial mods, because it makes the game difficult. A lot of these mods, they're all about making it easier and easier for you to do things. You know, yeah, you have to maybe, be putting coal into a generator, but doing that allows you to power your macerator and your, electronic furnace and all these other things. And those are all, there's a little bit of build-up that you have to do with it, but for the most part, it goes straight from just standard Minecraft. But GregTech is different in that the designer, Greg, wants you to put a lot of effort into being able to make his machines. He figures that tech shouldn't come easy.
Ooh.
And, ooh is a great way of putting it. And, one of the things, like, I personally... I don't mind GregTech. It's annoying because he doesn't really have... Some mods have, like, a book included in the game about how to get started. Some of them are pretty simple. But if you're not, like, actively following changes made to GregTech and stuff like that, it's pretty hard to figure out where to get your feet. And apparently, since the last time I played it, there have been a lot of changes where the game is designed where you start... you don't... Like, one of the things that people find controversial about Greg and his tech is that he likes to change other people's recipes. And so when this version of GregTech was installed, logs didn't give you 4 planks anymore, for example. They gave you 2. And so you had, like, half as much wood available. And...
Ow.
because he wants you to, like... be hurting for it until you work your way up and you get yourself a sawmill.
Okay.
You can kind of see where it's coming from. He doesn't want, like, Minecraft, a lot of it doesn't really make sense in the world when you compare it to naturalness. But with the GregTech, he gets rid of that and he makes it so that wooden pickaxes and stuff are pretty, they don't work extremely well. But he adds in, like, flint tools, which is, more historically accurate. And so you end up, having an extra step before you even start machines. And then you have to get your metals, and get your basic metals, and you start working your way, and then you have to get towards bronze. And once you get bronze, you can build yourself a bronze blast furnace. And I was up till 4 a.m. building my bronze blast furnace. And I finally got it built, and then I went to bed. And it takes like 300 pieces of bronze. It's a pretty ridiculous thing, and if it wasn't for the fact that I had that we have other mods installed that allowed me to bypass the bronze, we have Tinker's Construct, which gives me the smeltery, and that lets me bypass it. If I didn't have that, it would have taken me a long time. I would have had to develop all of my stuff, which, honestly, as it goes, I don't mind too much. I do like a lot of the things. Because it feels more real to me.
Oh, yeah.
And once you have, like, the tools that you need for it, you're able to do it. You just need to have a hammer and, like, a file on you at all times. And you just are able to make the things. And, when you're messing around with multiple mods, then, a lot of the, flaws of one mod, or the, challenges from one mod can kind of get put away. For example, you can, there's many mods that allow you to double your ore output.
Which is a good thing.
Well, which is a pretty good thing. You get, Tinker's Construct has its smeltery, Industrial Craft has its, what's it called? Its macerator, Thermal Expansion has its, what's it called? Pulverizer. There's a lot of these different things that allow you to double your ore, and so you end up, like, really swimming in the resources, especially on this mod pack where it gave you, like, a lot of these resources. And so honestly, while it cost me like 300 bronze, that didn't mean too much to me, because it was really easy for me to get that. It just took a little bit of time to figure out exactly what I needed to make. And then, once you have this bronze structure, you're able to start working towards steel. And once you have steel, you're able to start getting, I think you have to go from steel to like stainless steel.
Okay.
And then you go to like tungsten or whatever. And there's like 12 steps on his tech tree. And once you reach the end of this tech tree, you are 100% invincible. For the most part. And it's...
100's a good number.
100 is a pretty decent number. And, it's just an interesting thing. But I was told that we were going to have it being removed because, a lot of people don't like it because it does make the game really hard. You can't, for example, just make a pair of shears out of 2 iron anymore.
Oh.
To make shears, you need to get, you need to have a file, I think, is what the item is, and a hammer, and you need to use 2 iron plates, which is, using your hammer on iron plate, 2 ingots of iron. So it costs you 4 iron plus having these 2 tools to be able to make a pair of shears.
That's a bit much.
It is a bit much, but once you have those, once you have that, hammer and file on you all the time, you're able to just do it. Mm-hmm. And, you're doubling your resources anyway, and after a while you stop working with iron, and so you have it in abundance. And so it's not a bad thing that they're doing. It's just extremely fascinating. And I kind of want to do, doing Greg Tech from the ground up, not going through these other mods. One of the things that he changes how you make a bucket. With the bucket, you need 3 iron plates now. So it's 6 iron to be able to get yourself a bucket. And, it makes sense that you need to use your hammer and these iron plates.
Yeah.
And, it takes a couple more steps, but then a bucket is really, really useful.
Oh, yeah.
And, but the problem behind it is a lot of the, your buckets are really, really useful. Mm-hmm. And I know for Tinker's Construct, you need one to put lava into your smeltery and be able to have it smelt. And so without that bucket, I don't know the most efficient way to start. If you're doing all the mods combined, I think you might have to waste some resources, which is sad. When you know what you're doing with Tinker's Construct on all these other mods, you're all about, why would I cook this iron and, not get that extra, 1 iron? I need to do all of this work to, bypass as quickly as possible and get to the big version. There was one time I was doing a Feed the Beast pack, and there's this item called the blast furnace, which is really annoying to make because you need magma cream to make it. So slime balls and blaze powder, or to hunt magma slime, and it's really annoying to make. But what I did was, while I was poking around, just looking at it, I found a way that you could bypass making the Traincraft version, which is the one I was talking about, and you could make a Greg Tech version, the lowest level possible you could do, and then as soon as you got it, you could use it to make steel products and finally work your way up, and you end up making this tower that's the lowest level, and you end up replacing it piece by piece until it's the highest level. And it was really interesting, and it was really rewarding. While it took me 3 days to do, it was still, probably easier than doing the Traincraft industrial, Traincraft blast furnace.
It seems like a good system to get the base and then put the pieces in as you need it.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I like about Greg Tech is that once you reach a level of technology, it's really, really hard to backslide. For instance, in vanilla Minecraft, I know because this happens to me all the time, if I make myself super tools, efficiency 5, pickaxe, axe, shovel, I've got a smite 5 sword or whatever, and I've got these tools on me, and then I die.
In lava,
and then my tools disappear, and I end up having to spend 3 or 4 days re-enchanting all this diamond equipment before I have the tools that allow me to go do projects again. But when you have Greg Tech, you don't have, when you die, you're not starting all the way back in the Flint era. You already have all of your machines. And so even if a creeper blows up, you still have some of them. You still have some resources. And so you're able to get yourself going much faster than you would, when you die in vanilla, and lose your stuff. And so I do like having that level of technology where you're able to just move forward.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the mods I have been playing with is called Witchery. And pretty much, well, let me back up. One of the reasons why I dove really deep into GregTech, I was going to stand aside because I wasn't going to deal with a lot of technology on the server. I didn't want to. I've been working on building things. Mm-hmm. And because I'm not very good at making things look good. And they added a lot of different stuff to make you get really cool looking blocks. And so I've been playing with a lot of that. But apparently one of the things that they did is they made it so that one of the things GregTech does is you can't make redstone blocks and lapis blocks the standard way anymore. You have to use a compressor.
Which kind of makes sense.
Which, that's the thing with GregTech. It all makes sense. It's just inconvenient when you don't have a compressor and you want to make it. Because there's no real way around it. And so, I have to, go through all the hoops. And that's why I started going through the hoops, because I wanted to get a compressor as quickly as I could. And the GregTech website isn't really set up to be able to show you exactly what you need to do. There was a lot of very false starts at the beginning. But anyway, since we're removing it, I haven't been working on GregTech, so I've decided to put, the lapis blocks and the redstone blocks aside for now, and the thing that I'm looking at making is I need a good supply of glowstone. Because I can go to the nether, but, it's kind of annoying to go to the nether all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, with things in the mod, it's extremely possible. One of the favorite things that I did under an old Feed the Beast server is I had a blaze farm, which was just a blaze spawner in the overworld, and it would just churn out blazes. You stand next to it, they fall in water, and they die. And you would get a chest full of blazes.
Simple.
Full of blaze rods. Extremely simple. They're a great fuel source. And one of the things that I can do, I think it's netherwort and blaze powder or something, but if I cook 2 rocks in this special witchery oven, one of the byproducts I get is glowstone dust.
Ooh.
And so I started getting into this witchery stuff. And I haven't done too much with it, but that's the mod that I'm currently working with right now. And it's all really, really fascinating, and a lot of it is really, really well built. And one of the most interesting things that I think is about, these mods is that, they're a really interesting idea when they're by themselves in a world. In a world with just GregTech, you have to work your way through just GregTech. Mm-hmm. But once you add in all these other mods, it makes it, parts of it are more challenging. For example, with this witchery, one of the things that you need is spruce wood. You need spruce saplings to be able to get this special byproduct from cooking them.
And just spruce?
Right,
can't use
just spruce. You can't use anything else. But we also have these other mods like extra large biomes, Natura, biomes of plenty. And so I spent an hour today flying around as a bat, because that's one of the mods that's in there. I can turn into animals. I went flying around and I spent, probably an hour trying to find spruce trees.
Did you find any?
I did find them. And see, the thing is, so that, that's a bunch of mods making it hard for me to do this one thing. But as soon as I found them, I pulled out my lumber axe and I broke one block of the tree and the entire tree fell down. And then because of something else that's in the server, I don't know exactly what mod it is, all the leaves instantly despawned. And so suddenly I had 8 logs and 4 saplings off of breaking one block.
Which is useful when you don't want to wait around.
Which is useful because I didn't want to wait around. And so I harvested a couple of trees like that, replanted a little bit, flew back to my base, and planted a bunch of trees. And now, it's going to be really, really easy getting all these saplings that I need to get all these resources that I need, because I have this other mod installed, even though this other mod that I had made it really difficult for me to get where I wanted to be.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool how you can overcome the difficulties because of the difficulties.
Right, and that's one of the really, really fascinating things that I like about it. And when I was talking to KP about it, it's really hard to, say everything that you really want to say when you're typing. But I really like, first of all, he said that a lot of people don't like Tinker's Construct. And if they don't like Tinker's Construct, there's something wrong with them, because I think it's one of the most amazing mods ever. You used it a little bit when you were on the Feed the Beast server. That was where that was where you could, you melted down the metals and poured them into the molds.
I liked how the pickaxe worked. How I was able to get a diamond iron pickaxe with a hint of gold.
Right, and it lets you make modular weapons, and in that mod, I am a bit of a completionist, but when it comes to these mods, I'm also kind of lazy. And so right now I've got myself a bronze hammer, and then I go around and I mine blocks with, and it works well enough. One of the reasons I started doing witchery stuff is I needed to have it repair and sit in my inventory for a while and rebuild itself, because it does that. And I also have myself a Silk Touch pick, and I've like the Tinker's Construct tools, but I haven't done anything really with them. And there's much higher versions of the tools that I could get, but I don't need them.
Because you have these.
Because I've got these, and while do they mine obsidian quickly? Well, no, but nothing mines obsidian quickly. And so, but it mines, like 9 obsidian at once. Besides, it's been really, really hard for me to find lava on this map. But yeah, I don't need the mods to be working at their full. I just need something that's fun to play with, and lets me go and start doing,
and that's
other stuff. And so, yeah, it's really fun, and I like playing modded Minecraft. And, hey, audience, let's talk back to you for a second. If you guys like modded Minecraft, please hit a like down on this video, and also down in comments, tell me your favorite mod, that you like for Minecraft. If you don't like modded Minecraft, hit the dislike button, and, tell me why you think vanilla is the best. And hey, I'm kind of working at coming up with a mod pack of my own for a series, and, if you think there's anything that'd be cool for me to have in, please let me know. But other than that, my name is WandCow.
I'm Jerusha.
And I know I took up a lot of the talking, but thank you for listening to me today, guys. If you guys stay online, we'll see you next time.
Yep, see you later.
Bye-bye.